That was a fun ass whooping. Questions?
Coach, just maybe the energy of the ladies started off early. It wasn't there. Do you think it's just kind of some rust with some of the Liberty players having played in the Olympics to be able to keep it going to where some of your ladies just haven't played a game in such long?
It's a good question. You'll have to ask them. I mean, obviously that 10-0 start got punched, in first, and we have to respond. But then there was a 9-0 run to start the second quarter. So that 10-0 run, that 9-0 run to start quarters, we just didn't step back up to the first punch thrown.
Coach, with a defeat like this, how much does it stay on your mind knowing that you also have to look at the next games and there's a lot of high competition coming up? And is there any positives you take away from a game like this?
The positive is we play 2 more games in 3 days, so we get right back on the horse and be able to play. And we've got to respond in practice tomorrow and then be ready for Chicago.
Coach, you've talked a lot this season about the need to match the physicality of your opponents. And, this game just kind of seemed, especially from the get-go, was really physical. Just kind of what did you see on that end, in terms of your response?
Yeah, I thought we got out physical, I thought we got out toughed. And then you have a reactive approach instead of a proactive approach. And it started from the tip. I thought they were the aggressor. I thought they were the physicality team. You've got multiple Olympians on both teams, and how physical international basketball is, but it seemed like they were much more ready for the physical game tonight than we were from the jump.
Hey, Coach DJ and Fantasy TV. You talk a lot about the rebuild and the rebuild season that we're in. How much of this loss can you attribute to the fact that we are playing a number 1 team and we are currently sitting at number 10?
Yeah, I mean, I think they showed tonight why they're in first place. They can have games like this. It's disappointing that now we've played them 3 times and I think they have 45 threes. Mm-hmm. A big goal tonight was to try to limit some of their threes. And you wouldn't have thought that was our game plan going in. So, just frustrating that we could not execute some of the things. At halftime, we didn't know if we should change our defensive approach because we felt like 20 minutes went by before we've even had a chance to get to the execution of what we were trying to accomplish. So it's like, do you try to go back and use the same approach? Because we never really got to it, or do you just totally scrap the game plan and make adjustments and do that? So, it's a tough night. I haven't been involved with a kind of game like that in a long time, and I feel bad for them, but they have to rally in that type of game with energy and passion and desire before X's and O's even become a factor.
John W. Davis, Southern California News Group. I was going to ask you that. How do you want your team to feel after a loss like this?
No, I think that should bother them. I definitely think that on your home court, to be embarrassed like that, they have to come back with more pride. That's disappointing individually for all of us, players and coaches, but also that, this is a franchise with a rich tradition. This doesn't happen to the Sparks on the Sparks home court, and so my hope is that it bothers them, but we've got to move on. Tomorrow when we wake up, this game is over, and we start to prepare for Chicago, which is also one of the more physical teams in the league.
Coach, tonight it seemed like there were a lot of turnovers, high turnovers tonight, a lot of them on your dribble handoffs on the side ball screens. How much of that is the New York defense versus just miscommunication with your players?
Yeah, I mean, we had 6 turnovers in the second half, so we obviously got better at that. But the dribble handoffs, where what you're talking about, the DHOs, was, again, back to the word of the night, was the physicality. They were so disruptive at the point of attack in the DHOs. Well, it's everybody's approach in this league, and they were accomplishing that, and we weren't. And their tempo at the offensive end off of their DHOs was better than our tempo off the DHOs, and it became a problem.
Coach, you just came off a gold medal performance in Paris. What were some of the key takeaways that you were able to take away to, I guess, incorporate into your coaching philosophy? And second part of that question is, what does it mean to be an American and represent your country?
It was an unbelievable experience. Obviously, I've been involved with that team in this cycle, so not only the Olympic gold, but the World Cup championship, qualifying events, and every training camp along the way. It's really special to represent your country. It was special to be with those 12, and the word that I used from the beginning was, it's a sacrifice. You know, with the exception of probably Asia and Stewie, everyone is sacrificing and not truly being themselves on that team for the betterment of the group. So you've heard Sue Bird talk about it. It's an uncomfortable basketball for the greatest players in the world because they can't always be themselves. They've got to sacrifice. The sacrifices that go into that team being successful is amazing, and how they have to play not necessarily their games, that they're going to come back to their own individual teams and play, but in order to keep that dynasty that USA women's basketball is really remarkable to be in it day in and day out with them. You know, for me also, they just think you're the crazy opponent coach, you know, through the years, right? And we have perceptions of these great players. But when you get to know each other and you get to know those, like I am truly, like, totally think different of Stewie and Sabrina after coaching them and have such a special relationship with them. Watching Stewie be a mom, like, it was unbelievable, the grind that goes into, and the pressure that Stewie has to be one of the best for us, and to wake up the next morning and see her with her 2 children in the breakfast room, up earlier than almost anyone, and watching her being a mom and